In a desire to find Japan, an Englishman becomes a weapon to prevent civil war. 1600 year. For decades, Portuguese Catholics have profited enormously from trade with Japan. They concealed its whereabouts from European Protestants. A ruler died in Osaka, leaving behind an heir too young to succeed him. 5 warrior lords started a war for the rights to gain absolute power. John vowed to find the Japanese and claim this dark land. It's been many days. There is no more food or drinking water on the ship. At the beginning of the expedition, there were 5 ships with a crew of 500 men. Now there's only 1 ship floating, because of which the captain is about to sail back home. After a while, the Japanese went ashore to find food, but out of the fog, a ship appeared, its sails completely destroyed. An armed squad of soldiers was immediately dispatched to the ship. The entire crew is exhausted and sick, but John still has the strength to try to fight back against the soldiers. But obviously, he can't succeed. In another part of Japan, Daimyo Yoshi is walking with his son and a small guard. After the walk, he comes to Osaka Castle. Its owner, Lord Ishida, asks Yoshi to come to his private quarters. The castle is guarded by many warriors. After a few minutes, Yoshi meets Ishida. He doesn't like the fact that after Taiko's death, Yoshi has been gathering forces. Yoshi wonders what forces he's amassed. Ishida replies, the 6 marriages he agreed to, which caused the fiefdom to double in size. Yoshi declares that he is happy with his present domain, and he is not going to be the first to break the peace. Ishida doesn't understand. Then notice Sister Ochiba was taken to Yoshi's castle this morning. Perhaps she was taken hostage so that Yoshi would be safe at this meeting. Yoshi assures them that the girl is his fiancée. The council votes and demands the girl's return. Otherwise, Yoshi will lose all his titles. A warrior from Yoshi's squad sees this as a betrayal. His master always lives according to the law. Yoshi asks Tadayoshi to sit down. Ishida gives 7 days to release the heir's mother. After that, the council will decide what fate awaits Yoshi. After the meeting, he meets with his friend Hiromatsu. The man is sure that as soon as they hand over the girl, they will be sentenced to execution. Yoshi realizes this, but if they start a war now, all 4 armies will unite and destroy them. Yoshi has a mission for Hiromatsu to get to the barbarian's ship. Before leaving, Yoshi wonders if Hiromatsu made a mistake by taking his side. The ship is brought to the nearest village, and all the Englishmen are put behind bars. The sailors don't understand how they got to China, but John is certain. The Japanese are in front of them. One of the sailors is sure that as soon as the Portuguese tell the Japanese who they are, they will be killed immediately. John asks them not to think that. As they sailed here, every day could be their last, but still they found Japan. Lord Yabushido came to the village today. He wants to see the sailors. A couple of warriors come down to the cage. John takes one of them hostage and gives him an ultimatum. He will personally talk to Yabushido, or the soldier will die. The man thinks the man in front of him is Portuguese and asks the villager to translate his words. All the inhabitants of this village have converted to Christianity, and anyone who doesn't like the sailors being kept in cages gets their heads blown off. Yabushido orders the priest to find out what the man wants. John has to confess that he's English, and 2 months ago the ship went off course. The priest is convinced it's a lie. He calls John a pirate. From the look in Yabushido's eyes, John understands. The priest is not going to translate his words and simply conceals that there are other countries in Europe besides Portugal. Yabushido sentences the entire team to death. John tears off the cross and shows that he does not belong to this faith. Yabushido changes his mind and asks to take the man to the house and wash him. At this time, Yoshi meets the heir to the throne. The two have a good relationship. Yoshi asks the boy to learn a lot of not only fighting skills, but also political skills. The woman tells him that Yoshi is feared because of his great lineage. She knows he doesn't want to be Shôgun, but the other rulers don't care. This tree was planted on Yeikyo's birthday. The support keeps the tree growing, just like Yoshi. In order for Yabushido to be feared, he still sentenced 1 sailor to execution in boiling water. His screams spread through the village for hours. A new day arrives. John wakes up inside the house. He doesn't know how Japanese culture works and accidentally breaks through the door. He is given local clothing. Tadayoshi's ship arrives in the village. He immediately asks where the weapons from the ship are. He is told that there were 500 muskets on board, 20 cannons, and several crates of silver and gold. Lord Yoshi confiscates all these items. Yabushido objects because the ship is in his domain. Tadayoshi has another proposal for this. Yabushido has to give in. John will be taken to Osaka, accompanied by a Spaniard named Rodriguez. A couple hours later, a storm begins to brew. Being an experienced sailor, John's advice is to steer the ship into the wave. Rodriguez cuts the rope so John can move around the ship. One of the soldiers falls overboard, but John manages to save the man. Suddenly, Rodriguez falls into the water, and John instantly throws an oar to him. Yabasudo descends into the hold, and seeing John, orders him to row to survive. He himself joins the soldiers. John then assumes the role of navigator. When the storm subsides, John sets out to find Rodriguez. He doesn't care that all Japanese are savages, but in John's homeland, they don't abandon their own. Yabasudo explains to Tadayoshi what the man wants. They manage to find Rodriguez, but he is too low. John is not allowed to take any risks, and then he suggests that Yabasudo go down himself. The man takes this as a challenge and starts rappelling. The rope breaks, and Yabasudo falls down, but he and Rodriguez survive. Yabasudo pulls Rodriguez to a safe height, but a wave knocks him down. Yabasudo is about to die with honor, but at that moment the rope falls, and everyone pulls Yabasudo out. John is amazed at what he has seen, and bows to Yabasudo. Tomorrow the troop continues on its journey. The moment Yabasudo draws his sword, flashes before John's eyes. Rodriguez shows John's personal diary, which contains information about all the Catholic bases on the way to Japan. All this information will be given to the Portuguese. John tries to kill the Spaniard, but he grabs the gun and asks the question, when John sees Osaka, will he really think of Europe as the pinnacle civilization? Maybe fate has brought him to Japan for a greater purpose, to help Yoshi. 1 year ago, the shogunate asks his son to come. He promises that when he dies, he will be reborn in a pure land. The order is given for everyone to leave, but the shogun asks Yoshi to stay. They are true friends to each other, recalling funny moments from shogunate's life. The man realizes his son is in danger, and to keep him safe, he offers Yoshi to be the sole regent until the boy grows up. Yoshi is stunned by this offer. If he becomes regent, all the enemies will unite and kill not only Yoshi, but also the boy. In that case, the shogun will set up a council of 5 men, including Yoshi. This will create a political stalemate and prevent a civil war from breaking out. He also asks Yoshi to teach his son, and most importantly, to learn the lesson that the highest-ranking man in the state will always be the loneliest. Rodriguez shows the local priests John's journal. They're going to translate the entire text. As a reward for the information, Rodriguez receives a bag of gold. After a while, Martin arrives at the castle. He promises John that he will translate his words without lying. Their conversation is interrupted by Lord General Ishido. Martin asks John to sit quietly. Ishido doesn't understand why the last days of his life. Yoshi spends the last few days of his life communicating with the stranger. Yoshi explains that he is of no value to him and orders John to be taken to prison. A meeting is called for tonight. Yoshi's spies bring word that this barbarian is bothering the Portuguese. Soon, the Christian regents will protest the barbarian's presence in Osaka. Yoshi plans to sow discord between Ishido and the Christian lords. John also learns that all the lords serve Ishido, and they are going to execute Yoshi. If Yoshi declares John his ally, he will hardly be able to leave Japan alive. The vote begins tomorrow, but the Christian lords demand the barbarian's execution, or there will be no vote. In prison, a priest tells them that an army armed with European weapons has been established in the fortress of Mikado, but none of the lords here know about it. All Christian power rests on the riches of a black ship. This ship is docked at Osaka and can't sail without Yoshi's dispersal. Ishido comes to Yabasudo. He needs information on who this barbarian is. Yabasudo tells him that Yoshi believes there is a rift in the council, but Ishido is sure it can't be. Yabasudo hints that after Yoshi's death, Ishido will be the next to be killed, and he won't be able to defeat the lords with the church's support. But if he has a man who can keep the barbarian on a short leash, things could change. Ishido sees it as a prospect, but he's already had to approve the barbarian's execution. Yabasudo hints that there is something he can do. The executioners summon John, but take him outside the city for the execution site. There they are attacked by Yabasudo and his soldiers. John thanks them for saving him. Yabasudo then takes John to Yoshi. He tells him that the executioners were attacked by bandits, but he was so fortunate to be passing nearby. Their interpreter today will be the heir's mother, Mariko. Yoshi wants to know how England works. He assures Yoshi that the Queen of England is very smart and would like to be an ally for Yoshi. He then asks John to draw a real-world map. John compliments that they have set up a Portuguese military base in Macau. Arms are traded there, and Japanese mercenaries, Ronins, are in the service. This information shocks the listeners, and Yoshi asks to be shown where all the Portuguese bases are. John also tells them that the world is divided into two parts. Japan is in the Portuguese power zone, which makes them consider Japan their prey. Mariko calls this a lie, but John swears to his god. To prevent John from being killed, Yoshi gives out a private quarters in this castle. In the evening, Martin tries to get a dispensation for the departure of the Black Ship, but Yoshi remembers a recent conversation and decides not to stamp it. Martin would rather explain why their church is building secret military bases. At night, an assassin sneaks into the castle. John runs away screaming. The assassin easily kills several guards, but Yoshi easily defeats the girl. The guards are convinced Ishido has declared war, but Yoshi assures them it's not him. It isn't long before the stranger moves into Yoshi's quarters, and Yoshi himself into John's quarters. It was John who the assassin wanted to kill. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your comment. See you very soon. Bye.